When corals meet algae, first stages of symbiosis seen for the first time. July 14, 2021. The physical interactions between coral and algal cells as they combine to form a symbiotic relationship have been observed for the first time. Within minutes of being introduced, coral cells had started to engulf the algae, where they were either digested or moved to a protective bubble within the cell. This new study, published in Frontiers in Marine Science, will form the basis of further research to understand what drives their symbiosis at a cellular and molecular level, including the eviction of algae, which is the cause of coral bleaching. Explains Professor Nori Soto, co-lead author of the study and head of the Marine Genomics Unit at the Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology Graduate University, Japan. Quote, "We watched coral cells develop pseudopodia, temporary arm-like structures, that were used to engulf the algae as early as 5 minutes after the two cells were mixed. Once inside the coral cell, some algae were moved to a vacuole, a protective membrane-bound bubble, while others were broken up and digested." Unquote. Coral and algae have had a cooperative relationship for over 200 million years. Coral cells provide algae with shelter and the building blocks for photosynthesis. In return, the algae provide the coral with nutrients. When corals are stressed, the algae can be evicted, which turns the coral white. Linked to climate change and pollution, this coral bleaching can be devastating, with negative impacts on wildlife, tourism, fisheries, and coastal flood protection. Researchers at Rice University and the Spanish Institute of Oceanography already knew the importance of algae, known as dinoflagellates, to the health of coral as the oceans warm. They have now confirmed that these tiny creatures not only multiply by splitting in half, or mitosis, but can also reproduce through sex. According to Rice marine biologist Adrienne Correa and graduate student Lauren Hauker, this opens a path toward breeding strains of dinoflagellate symbionts that better serve their coral partners. Said Correa, an assistant professor of biosciences. Quote, "In genomic datasets of coral dinoflagellates, researchers would see all the genes coral symbionts should need to reproduce sexually, but no one had been able to see the actual cells in the process." Unquote. Lauren Hauker added, quote, "This is the first proof that these symbionts, when they're sequestered in coral cells, reproduce sexually, and we're excited because this opens the door to finding out what conditions might promote sex and how we can induce it. We want to know how we can leverage that knowledge to create more genetic variation." Unquote. The discovery follows sampling at coral reefs in Moorea, French Polynesia, in July 2019, and then observation of the algae through advanced confocal microscopes that allow for better viewing of three-dimensional structures. The Rice University research, published September 22, 2021, shows that the symbiotic single-celled algae that live inside of and feed corals can reproduce not only by mitosis, but also sexually. Encouraging sex in these algae can accelerate their evolution to produce strains better able to help reefs cope with climate change. These algae, called zooxanthellae, not only contribute to the stunning color schemes of corals, but critically, they also help feed their coral hosts by converting sunlight into food. This symbiotic relationship between algae and coral is a crucial part of the ocean's ecosystem. With this kind of research and people dedicated to the mysteries of coral reefs, the future of the oceans will be brighter and full of color.